All right, so we're going to go with the Q&A, starting with Ad here.
Yes. Yeah, I'm quite interested now in ego. First of all, to find out what is ego and if there is really necessary to have an ego in life going further, and when it's necessary, mostly. Because for me, I found out, for me, ego personally doesn't really help me to go further. And I feel more free when I let it go. Just not thinking. For example, let's say you are with a beautiful woman that you know that she has a promiscuous past, but I really don't care about that because in the present she's with me and I'm enjoying the present with her. But I don't know if that is the way of looking at it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just say first, you can keep it for now. I think that's not necessarily ego. I mean, that's like if you're, like I don't care either. If I meet a girl at a party and I'm going to take her in the bathroom and get a blowjob, I don't really care if she gave a lot of guys blowjobs before. It doesn't really, I don't care.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was going to marry her, then it would be very important, right?
Yeah, I'm personally taking marriage out of discussion. For me, it's I did it once.
It's not ego. It's just like basically what affects what.
But having a relationship.
Her being,
having a relationship. That is what, because I'm not a one night stand guy. I don't like it. I like the connection. And having a relationship with that woman, but not being interested in what she did and how she did it, when she did it, if I am happy in that moment.
Tell me what you think other guys think.
I personally don't give a fuck about that.
No, but like you're saying, like, is this the way to go? But like, what do you think other guys think? Like, what's your, like, you're thinking like other guys think other things, right?
Yeah, I think that other guys think.
What do they think?
That she is going to cheat on me, for example, or she's not respecting me, or I am not respecting myself going with that kind of woman. Yeah.
I'll say, okay, so one of my friends was listening to Ronin Man, and he said, I think a lot of the guys are weak, he said, because they're so worried about what other girls do. He says, I don't care because once they go with me, they're going to be with me. Like, I'm confident that they're not going to cheat on me, even if they cheated on another guy. And he has a lot of girls, right? So he said, guys without much experience are very concerned about experience. He says, but I'm secure and I don't care.
But also about cheating.
That was his opinion, right? And I was thinking about it, like, is he right? Because sometimes this guy, he's often right. But I was thinking, is he right? And guys that are concerned about that are wrong. I think that he is, he's young. So when you're young, you are confident, right? You feel like, hey, it's going to work out. They're going to love me. The older I got, the more I saw, the more experience I had. I realized that anything a girl does, thinks I'm the big stud, whatever, she's not going to think that forever. So, like, when I was first heard it, I was really happy, right? And then some girls are better at making you feel that way than others, right? Now, maybe they're doing it on purpose, or maybe that's just the way they are, and so I don't like to be, I like the feeling of a girl, obviously, us vibing sexually. That's a good thing, right? Because some people you don't vibe with, right? So if you vibe sexually with a girl, then she feels good feelings with you, right? That's not a lie. But the thing is like, girls, they just become very cold very quickly. So when they suddenly decide that you no longer fit what they want, it's not like they slowly cool down. It's just like nuclear hot to ice cold, nothing.
Switch.
Forever. Like it never comes back. The hotness. They can be bribed into doing things, but the actual feeling, and I'm not saying this is 100% true. I'm just saying, like, I feel like this is true enough that it's okay to believe it. Is girls basically, it's an on and off switch. Once they're off you, it's off. It's just fucking off. And so whenever a girl tells me she thinks, whatever, I used to think, is she telling the truth or not? Now I trust it more. Looking at her eyes, feeling the feeling of the vibe. I'm like, yeah, she's really into it now. But that does not mean shit later. So it doesn't mean anything a week from now or a month from now. So that's the way I look at that. Is just like, I know that it could switch, and it will switch at some point. Now, you could have a perfect love story where, you're two old people and she's not crazy about you, but she's still your girl. And I've seen that with older people. And obviously there's other things that, 90 years old, you're not going to be, you know what I mean? Like, so I could see the other things, if the girl's like super good to you and really thinks you're great, maybe she's not going to be as turned on, but other things could matter. If she's a great cook and, she stays with you and gives you good face and you feel like this is a good person for this part of my life, you might be. But I just have seen them go so cold. And also too, like, I remember, I don't remember all the girls I fucked, but a lot of them I remember in great detail. And I find when I talk to girls, they don't really remember that much. Like, they just kind of in the moment. They don't really, like, I think men basically cherish that moment when she did this and then that happened and then we were over there and, it's like they really, and then that memory keeps them stoked on the current girl, right? So, like, she's here and then there was in the past and then they think of that to like them more now. I think guys play this little game to keep them interested in the girl, but they don't. They don't play those games. They just, that was it. They almost don't remember it. Like,
based on their feelings and emotions at that time.
It's almost like,
changing.
I think it's almost like embarrassment or something. Like, they don't want to let you know. Like I talked about in that one video, I forgot the title. I talked about how the girls don't want to tell you the things that turn them on, because then you can kind of control them. Like, I remember I made it in Boston, but I can't remember the name of the video. It was like how to be the best she's ever had or something like that. I think that's it. And that one I was saying, like, they don't want to tell you. And like, even if they have an orgasm, they won't tell you. Because then you start thinking you're hot stuff. And then you become something they don't like. They prefer if you don't know. So like, girls don't tell you. I'm not saying every girl every time, but it is quite common, because then if they tell you, well, I guess it could be like you don't want to tell a guy, let's say somebody's very funny. If you tell your friend, you're very funny when you say this, you're kind of like ordering him to do that, or he might not know. He might just be in the moment enjoying making jokes, and all of a sudden he realizes why he's funny. Then he tries to do it more, and it's actually not funny. So it can kind of fuck things up when you point things out sometimes. It's kind of better just to let people be themselves and then just enjoy that, or don't like that, So I can kind of see where they're coming from, but they don't kind of tell you what really turns them on. And sometimes they'll tell you later, like years later, that time when you did that. Like, I've had girls tell me, like, that time, like there's something happened to their clothes or whatever, and they wore my shirt, and then they smelled my smell, and they were really stoked on it. And they wore it like when they would sleep, and they wear that shirt. And then they never told me that at the time, but then years later told me, right? It's like, I think they're kind of a little bit embarrassed. Girls want to be like modern women. They want to be in control of their feelings. And a man has the capacity to control them through their pleasure, which is kind of what they want, but also it's not what they want, right? Because like then if you know how to like make her into a robot for you, sex robot, she really is kind of like, you're like the best example. I think I said in that video, but this one girl told me, she said, and I actually don't think I slept with her. Oh no, I did. That's right. Yeah, I was thinking I didn't.
Yeah, I thought it did.
That's right. Yeah, she told me. She goes. Somebody like I was playing with her nipples, and she was like, like really going crazy, more than usual. And she said, she said, if a guy touches my nipples, I have to fuck him. She said, I'm like a robot. Like if I'm on the train and he just bumps against me, I'm gonna fuck that guy. And she said, I've always been like that. And she said, I never told anybody because I don't want people to know. Like, and I was like, wow. And I felt sorry for her in a way. Because like that was just her thing. Because she wasn't saying it to brag, because it was like not it wasn't a compliment or wasn't something guys find attractive. It was just like, she was just admitting. She felt comfortable enough to admit that that was just the thing. If somebody did that, she was done, right? So they don't want to tell you. So your ego is connected to all this stuff, right? So I think that if you have a good feeling, just roll with it. Because you don't have that many good feelings in life. So don't get too doubtful about things. Like, just enjoy. Girl makes you feel good. It's all good. You roll with it. And then just know that this could all shut down. And when it does, you'll be like, oh, that's what girls do. Because otherwise you're kind of like, I think what most guys do, like most relationships, what they are is the girls, essentially in today's psychology, whatever, psychological words, love bomb the guy and fuck his brains out. And then they're suddenly cold. But the guy wants that so much that he'll marry her, and then she turns it off again, and then she wants a baby, and then he gives her the baby, and then she turns it on again to get the baby, and then she wants a house, he turns it on again, gets the house, then she wants another kid, she turns it on again, and he gives her that, because she's already done, she doesn't feel anymore, but she knows that this is like super powerful for the guy. So she's going to turn it on again. But I think most girls, that if they, I think they feel that very rarely in their lives, actually. That the guy's a total stud. Like, like I think they just don't feel it that much. Even if you fuck them really good, like I wouldn't bet on that one. And I got to say, because I used to totally believe it, because I felt like when I was like really, really rolling through the girls, I felt sorry for other guys, because I thought, man, because I was driving a lot of girls crazy at the time. And it was something about all the girls would make the other girls go crazy, because they knew I had the other girls. So there was a demand, like there was this kind of competition. So I think it was true. They did. But then the spell breaks when there's no longer all the girls trying to get you. You can still be an attractive guy, but I mean the witchcraft spell. These are powerful things, because I had girls just come up to me, like white girls that I knew, and they just said, I got to fuck your brains out. And I said, why? What are you talking about? She goes, the girl just told me, she goes, you fuck every girl. I just have to fuck you. Let's just go home and fuck. She said, I just have to see. I have to find out. She said, yeah. And I was like, she was like a friend. And we did go home. And I was like amazed that she's like, yeah, girls have to do that. If they see every girl like in guy, they just got to do it.
They don't want to be left out.
Yeah, they just got to know. Like,
Pre-selection.
yeah. And then another one from that group did the same thing. And I was like, this is very interesting psychology, how the girls think like that. But anyway, I think for me, I like, I of course I want people that want to be around me, and I like that feeling. But I also am very cautious now. I enjoy it, but it's just kind of like, it's kind of like a dog. Like a dog, I love dogs, but they only live like 12 years, right? So it's like you get really sad, right? So like I just a little bit careful because, you know what I mean? Like, So it's not that they're lying or anything. It's just that it's just too powerful, So I just kind of like I don't let myself get too carried away, because you sabotage yourself. Like the girl I said the video about a long time ago, but it was really powerful for me because the first time I was with her, and you guys probably all heard the video, but it was like fucked her for 3 hours, nonstop, in the ass, first date. And it was so hot the whole time. Like literally, it was so hot. She was like a greased pig. I couldn't hold on to her because it's just sweating. And I was just grabbing her shoulders. And it was just like absolutely endless hot sex. Endless. Like it just never ended. Like my dick swelled up. It like all the skin from the stretching. Like just really, like it was really uncomfortable the next day. Yeah, it was like all raw and everything. Because it just like was just so long and hard. That night was so crazy. That day, the whole day. It was crazy. But then the next time when I saw her, I had so much pressure on myself from that. Because she thought I was like she really did. She thought I was like the studliest guy they ever born. And I was that day. I cannot understand how it happened. But that's exactly what happened. There was probably a lot of details. She was quite hot, long, blah, blah, blah. But I still don't quite know. But anyway, there was witchcraft that day. And then the next time, I swear to God, I could barely keep it hard. It was one of the worst fucks I've ever done. Like I finally came, I did come and I left. But I was like super embarrassed. Like,
you walked out like...
I was the worst. It was the worst. It was the worst. It was the worst feeling. So I also am wary of doing things or it's not just the praise from them. It's just even the physical doing really good with a girl. Because it's like, you realize you're not always on top of your game. And it was like magic that time. It was, I mean, now that time has passed, I'm very grateful for that. Because it was unusual. It was a once-in-a-lifetime type experience. I had good sex plenty of times, but that time was special. So I'm glad I had that. And I don't care that the other time. Like, I'm glad I had that experience in my life, right? So, I'm no longer, like, I don't, even in my mind, it's like, wow, that was fucking amazing, And you're never going to be amazing forever. So you just have to accept your amazing moments, I think. You will be amazing, right? You will do things that will be, that you will feel very good about. But then you might never reach that level again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It could be fighting or sports or, I'm sure like Olympic athletes feel this all the time. Is like they never reach, because there was all the energy from the crowd and the TV and the training and the colors and, it was everything. And then they just,
Peak performance.
Peak performance. Yeah. And like the time.
Never gonna get again.
Yeah. And the time that I was telling you about swimming, which I've never told on video, but one time, like I was swimming and I had nothing to do, long story, between classes at school. And I went to the pool and they were having a swimming teaching class. And so, I was like in Japan and I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't have a bathing suit. So somebody gave me a Speedo. Right. We never wear Speedos, right? So I had a Speedo and the goggles and the hat and everything. Because Japan's very official, right? So I had it all on. And then the class was like these old ladies. And like it was the teacher, even though it was high school, it was like a class at the high school. So I was in there, some kind of adult education. So they were swimming so slow. I was trying to go their speed because we're kind of in a line. So I was like trying not to go too fast. And then the teacher said, he singled me out. He goes, "You have bad form. You're a bad swimmer. You need to learn." And I was like, fuck, I was like, fuck, I saved people's lives. I surfed in Big Surf. I've swam, and I was thinking, fuck, I think I can swim pretty good. I mean, fuck, I've always been pretty comfortable swimming. Like all my friends are too, and then I just thought, fuck this shit. And I said to him, I go, "Let's race." And so then I had never raced. So I didn't know if I was fast. I honestly didn't. I thought maybe he's right. You know what I mean? Like I actually thought maybe he's right. Maybe that guy's right. So we got, and it was a pool with a timer and everything. So there's like a timer when you jump off, the thing pops up. And then when you touch, there's like a big board you touch and the thing goes up. So anyway, so then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay. And then all the students came in. So they're all standing there, right? So they're all watching. And then all of a sudden I realized like there's a lot of people watching. And I was like super pissed off because I was like, I don't know, man. I've been in some big currents. Like, fuck. I don't know, fuck. I was thinking, I was like, I better beat, like, oh, he's a teacher, right? Maybe he's fast. And then maybe there's something about the pool. I don't swim in the pool, right? I always swim in the ocean. So I was like, maybe I don't know the pool or something, So you have these doubts. I had these doubts. And then I'm just like, okay, I'm going to fucking, and then I thought like the Olympics, right? What do? They jump in the air and then they land and they go way down and they do these dolphin kicks, like, whoa, 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 3 dolphin kicks. And they come out like halfway through the pool and they do the second half. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to do it just like that. It was because I thought of the Olympics, and I'm going to do it just like that. So I just like, poof, took off, boom, dolphin kick, whoosh, dolphin kick, perfect, came up about halfway across the pool. I just, bam, 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 touch the other side. And I thought, I hope I didn't lose, And then I like, where's the guy, And then I look and he's like halfway across the pool. And then so the students were totally quiet, right? And then I was like, and somebody goes, you beat the women's world record. You almost beat the men's. And I was like, holy shit. So I called my parents. I go, Mom, I'm like, you guys won't believe this. I go, I fucking, I beat the women's, I almost beat the men's. And then they go, yeah. And my dad's like, you fucking idiot. He's like, when you were in junior high, you remember Kim? I'm like, yeah. He's like, she was trying to get you on the Olympic team. Because she lived in our building. It was near Mission Vale where Greg Louganis and all the people trained. And he's like, she was trying to get you to train for the team. And I was like, that was the Olympics? Because, all I knew was that I wouldn't be able to surf. And there was no girls because I was going to be swimming all the time. And I thought, fuck that. And plus, it was in the valley, right? It was like a mile away from the beach. Or a couple of miles. I was like, we thought the valley was fucked. If you weren't on the ocean, you were just a loser, And like the valley, fuck, that was in the valley, right? It was like a few miles away. And so then I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? So then I was like, fuck, I guess I can swim, And then, so I was very, very motivated by fear, anger, and all these feelings. And I was in a state. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I could recreate that now. Like, I don't know if I could get into that state again. Maybe I could, But I do have a little bit of fucked up shoulder, fucked up knees. Because my goal was to win the Olympics at 60. That was my goal. That was my secret goal for many decades, I thought. Because then after I knew that, I was 30, right? I was about 30 years old when I did that. And then, so I thought, I'm going to be the oldest guy to get the world record in the 50 meter. Right, I'm gonna go in there, train, and then I hurt my knee and I had surgery and I don't know. I don't know, but it was like something in my mind. I thought I wanted to be the first old guy to win a gold medal swimming because it's always young guys. But I just say one more thing about swimming was I used to watch the Olympics and I remember thinking that they were slow. I swear to God. I remember thinking like, these don't look very fast. And I thought, now running, I thought I could never. But swimming, I thought, these motherfuckers are not that. And then I thought, well, maybe it's like an airplane. Like you watch an airplane go across the sky and it doesn't look like it's going fast, but actually going 500 miles an hour, right? You know, and I thought maybe swimming's like that on TV. And, you know, is it doesn't look fast. And then I realized that it's not like that. It's just that I'm a very fast swimmer, right? So, but now I don't know if I can get that peak, just like with that girl. And so we have our moments. We have our peaks. But you will not, like now my knees hurt from yoga yesterday. My shoulder hurts. Sometimes my shoulder really hurts. My right forearm or bicep, one time I curled too much or whatever, and I think I tore it or something. So once in a while, this bothers me. And to really do the real, a swim like that, I got to be feeling great at the moment. And also I got to be challenged. Because people used to challenge me when I was young or tell me I couldn't do it or whatever. And then it was like, I was like, fuck you. We'll see about that. And then I would be able to do it, right? And I read about Michael Jordan, and he was exactly the same way. Like different things motivate different people. I'm not Michael Jordan. I'm not making that connection. I'm just saying that he was exactly like me. He's like, well, you don't think I can get in there? He's like, I'm going to do it. And he said, everything I did was for that. He goes, that's the way I think. Is you tell me I can't do it, and I'm going to do it to prove it to you. So he was grateful to the guys who told him he couldn't. Because if they weren't there, then he couldn't do it, right? So he had to have that as a motivator. So if you're relying on your ego to rule your life, it's very limiting because you're going to get older, you're going to have ups and downs, you're going to have good times and bad times. I think it's dangerous for you in general. But at the same time, I felt great about it. When I think back to that, I think, man, I had a talent, right? I had a talent. Now, I thought if it's true, I probably would have died of a drug overdose if I did. Because, I quit drugs and alcohol when I was 21, 22, right? So maybe if I would have been on the Wheaties box, right, then I would have had a lot of fame and money. Then I would have done way more partying. And as it was, I partied too much. I mean, like I tell stories. And like maybe I wouldn't have made it if I had hundreds of thousands of dollars when I was 15 years old, 17 years old, right? So maybe it saved my life. So you can never know for sure what is really like before you feel too bad about things, missing things. You got to think them through. Like I always, as a young guy, I had a lot of piss and vinegar. And I did not, I was pretty fucking confident in things. It's like, fuck, that confidence isn't always good, Sometimes it can lead you to crazy things, right? Or dangerous situations. So I think your ego is a motivating thing. I don't think it's good or bad. I don't think it's real or not real. And I don't think if girls tell you something, I think you just have to be as wise as you can, and you will be able to tell. What some guys do is, in order to protect their ego, they will decide to have no good feelings, right? They'll just never believe anything. Like, I'm not good at that, you're just pumping me up. I'm not going to, because they're so afraid of the heartbreak that they can't feel the good feelings. So I think with ego, you have to, the best way to go is to realize it's come and go. It's Johnny come lately. It's not, but I think, you have things that you can do and things you did. And whether you can do them again or not, it's a totally different thing. I think that I'm glad that I can enjoy the things I could do good. Because I know a lot of things I couldn't do well. You know what I mean? Like I was terrible at math. I was terrible at a lot of things, right? And so, yeah, I was terrible at surfing. I always wanted to be good at surfing, but I was a terrible surfer. Like I was the worst. And never got good at it. You know what I mean? But a lot of my friends became pro and they were good, And so I think that for me, I choose to let it be good and let it be bad, and then to know it's not going to last, and to realize it doesn't determine my value, or it doesn't make me bad or great or anything. Like, if there's one thing people like, is somebody who's able to be honest with themselves. And I think when you do that, when you really roll with the truth about what's going on, your ego and everything, then you can be honest and you can laugh, but you can also say, hey, but fuck, what about that? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to tell them, but in your mind, you're like, there's been good and bad, right? There's been, so I think that's the ultimate. But anytime you feel somebody trying to cheer you off a cliff, then you have to regain control of yourself and not let that happen. If somebody, like if you get famous or something, right, you're going to have people telling you, oh, you're great, and that can be the worst thing for you, because, I quit teaching after I went to school, because I was voted best teacher twice in my college. And then I went the next year, and the girl said, she goes, oh, I respect you so much. And I go, it's first day of class. I go, why? She goes, because I heard you're such a great teacher. And I thought, I got to quit teaching. And I quit that year. That was the last year. Because I thought, if I stay in this job, if that happens, like, because I built this thing or whatever, I hadn't taught anything to her yet. She had no reason to think I was great. And I have no reason to believe anything. You know what I mean? Like, nothing had happened. I didn't know her, right? You got to prove yourself every fucking day in life, right? So whatever I did last year, that's fucking last year. With another girl was a different personality. Maybe it won't work with her. Teaching is a funny thing. Richard Feynman's kids, like especially one of them, didn't learn very well from him, right? He was the greatest teacher. A lot of people would think he's one of the great teachers, right? But his own kid just isn't good at math or physics at all, right? Didn't vibe with the way he taught. So when you teach, you realize you can't reach everybody. Some people you just can't reach. It's just like your personality or their whatever preconceptions or whatever just doesn't work. Sometimes you can't, so I don't want to be in a place where it's a permanent kind of thing, like, because nothing's permanent, like, and especially something like that's not permanent. I got to drag up every day, go do my thing, and then if I'm doing the right things, I have I'm good at something, maybe I'll have a moment, right? You know what I mean? And be good at something, right? And you should enjoy that. That's fucking awesome. You know what I mean? If you really did something awesome, if you whatever it is, if you're good at something or you look good or whatever it is, you had success in business. But that's the thing with success in business too, is can be a big trap, because then, what have you done lately, right? I know a lot of guys who, like, they sell their business and then they're scared to do something new because they know it might fail. And so they end up running out of money like 30 years later because they just kind of can't accept the pain of failure again, because now they're this guy up here who no longer can tell that they're, just starting out and this and that. And that kills people too. Like, I'll tell you for sure it kills people. Because, like, for example, like even in, like, let's say a 12-step program, there's guys who they don't drink for many years, and they become kind of famous in their local meetings. Like, they're a good speaker, and they become this guy that all the young guys come and say, I look up to you. And then when they have problems, they realize if they share those, everyone's going to get confused. Like, wait, I thought you were this guy who was doing so good. So then they start to not tell the problems, right? And then what happens is when they do make a mistake, they can't bear going back because of what they were and the way people saw them. And so they literally drink and die and stuff like that. That happens. Just because they can't stand the fact that if they go back, and it is difficult. I'm not saying like, I don't know. It is, this shit can be very serious. Beware the ego is what I'm saying. And that's kind of what I was saying to Nicholas yesterday, is always be ready to lose everything. Always be ready to start from zero. And, like, always be ready to have lost it all. You know what I mean? You're in a wheelchair. You can't fucking do shit anymore. You no longer can do anything sports used to do. You no longer get the chicks. You can't stay in the shape because you can't move. You can't make the money because you can't, whatever you did relied on getting there and moving around. And then you have to, like, start over again and rebuild a life. Maybe different friends, because there was your friends who always play tennis or go out and travel, and you can't really do that. You have to be, I think that I always want to be where I could grow again, like a seed, like new leaves growing up. So if I tie myself to my past or to my things I did or whatever encountered, then I can trap myself. I put myself in my own cage. And that cage is very fucking dangerous. But I think I said enough. So I'm going to end this one there because I think that was done. That idea is fucking finished.